Hello out there in the Twitchverse. It is Max, and I am back at you with another one of these here videos from us at Superliminal Games. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to jump right in to a traditional Strixhaven draft. A little best of 3 action for everybody out there tonight. I've been fiddling a little bit more with Strixhaven in best of 3, trying to kind of parse together sideboarding because there's just not a lot of it in this format, so knowing when to take key cards in the draft is pretty interesting, and I think the sideboard really helps diversify that a lot, and it helps kind of make decisions that are already very deep in this format even deeper. I've been really having fun and being aggravated with this format a lot. It's just a fantastic frustration for me. It's been a lot of fun. It's really been skill testing. I've done more work to get better at this particular limited format than I have in a long time, just because early in the draft format, I really just couldn't parse what in the world was going on in this particular format. What the heck is this about? Why do drafts look so funky in this format? What am I doing? What am I doing incorrectly? Am I way off base? Am I on target? A lot of these things all went through my mind. So I really have taken a lot of time and effort to get better at this limited than any since probably I had a mythic run back towards, was that M20? I believe M21, one of those core sets at a point, and just because I found I could kind of fall in line with the draft format very easily, not because I really feel like I needed to get better. Where this format is really a big skill test here. Like, look at this pack right now. Look at this pack. Multiple choice, not one of our choices, but there's multiple choice here with Rutha, Shock, Quandrix Apprentice, all fantastic uncommons. And then we have Hunt for Specimens, Elemental Masterpiece, both excellent commons. And then there's Arcane Subtraction. Inkling Summon is a very solid lesson. Man, it's a good pack that we've opened here. Not an amazing rare, but it's still pretty amazing that we've gotten this here. It's very tough to say what's open here. I think Rutha in a vacuum is the most powerful card. I think Shock, I know Shock keeps us the most open. Quandrix Apprentice has done nothing but going up and up in my evaluations. It's very good. I think there's enough red in this pack that I may put another player on Prismari with Shock and Elemental Masterpiece, but I may put somebody on Lorehold with Quintarius plus Shock. I'm willing to take Rutha here because I just really do believe she's that good. There is a Draconic Intervention to follow up, and I hate to pass Counterspell. In this kind of a deck, but Draconic Intervention is very good. It's a board wipe, if you're not familiar. It's an awesome rare. It looks like somebody took a common out of this pack, it appears. Perhaps the lesson, so likely environmental sciences got taken out of this pack. I'm going to take Draconic Intervention, not because it pairs with Rutha, but because they are in the same color. This definitely cuts down on potential Prismari. Obviously, Counterspell's big, but that can go into Quandrix. Teach by Example, probably the next best card in this pack, and nobody's itching to get those necessarily in Prismari. So it's going to be an interesting draft. If we can keep up with our first 2 picks, we should have quite a decent Prismari deck. And it looks like we're going to be able to. This is actually a kind of a tough pick. And it's still a fantastic set of packs. We've seen some really good packs coming through here. Heated Debate, Zimone is definitely splashable. Karok Wrangler, not so much what we're going for. Still a good card. Elemental Summoning in this pack, as well as Heated Debate. Just, I think these 3 cards here are all fantastic. I wouldn't mind picking up an Opt if I'm able to at a point. All very good. It's very hard to say where we want to go. The first lesson's interesting. We haven't picked up a learn card yet, so I'm not itching to pick up a summoning, but this is very important in these kind of decks. Being able to get a good second spell off your learn is important. Letter of Acceptance, if we felt like we were going more, certainly maybe a dedicated teamer style deck, we could certainly take Letter of Acceptance here, but I'm just going to take Heated Debate, keep my removal flowing. That does pair well with Rutha, so being able to kill 2 creatures with Rutha is very good. So I feel like we're in good shape to be able to keep a controlling Prismari deck. Now there is a Prismari aggro deck that is very good, and I know the Lords of Limited are in on that a lot of the time. That's kind of their favorite way to draft Prismari, and I can understand that. I've been more comfortable with the controlling builds personally, but that makes, a difference. Now, we have Brainstorm in this pack, which is a fantastic card, but there's no real shufflers in the format in terms of deck shuffling. Like, there's Campus Guide we see in this pack, but the shufflers overall are few and far between and often not that good. So Brainstorm kind of by default becomes not that good. So that's not really on my radar here. It's basically Elemental Summoning versus Pillar Drop Warden. So it seems I do like Test of Talents a lot as well. This card seems very bad. Seems like a standard plant, but it's actually been really good in the limited. I've been impressed with it quite a bit. I'm just going to take Elemental Summoning here. I do think there's high probability we take an Arcane Subtraction down the road, if not, maybe being able to get to a better spell than that. So I'm certainly going to capitalize and take that there. The Biblioplex is an interesting card. This deck may be slow enough to try to take advantage of the Biblioplex. It's pretty interesting. You can only activate it if you have exactly 0 or 7 cards in hand, and it has to go for instants and sorcery specifically, so it's a very, very fixed Library of Alexandria. Very fixed. Like, they're trying to make it slightly reminiscent of it, right? Like, not even close in power level. I do like the Ardent Dust Speaker. It's not bad. It hasn't overly stunned me or wowed me. It's pretty good. It's a good body. I'm debating on the Biblioplex. I'd like to try it. I haven't really personally gotten a lot of play with it. So let's try it. I mean, why not, right? That's what we're here for, is learning. So that's what we want to find out about, right? It's very thematic. We're learning. If you haven't left after that, appreciate it. I got Pillar Drop in this pack. Gonna take it over Curate or Soothsayer Adept. We haven't had any problem picking up cards in Prismari colors, so that's a very good sign for us. I'm very happy with that. Kind of almost sort of jinxed it a little bit. I don't think any of these cards are necessarily worth taking to splash. Double white on Rise of Exodus would be the closest, but double white is a problem. I don't think I would put black or green. Green potentially, so maybe Cram Session's worth it if I splash green. That's a tricky one. There is Colony as well if we were to splash green. I'm not big on Resculpt. First Day is okay. Like, first day into Elemental Summoning actually isn't that bad. You have a hasty 5/5 coming into quick. So I think I'll take this over Cram Session. I may not play it, but it's a much higher probability. Ooh. There's a Bookworm in this pack, and that made me stop mid-sentence. What? Why is there a Bookworm in this pack? There's a Fractal Summoning we could take. Why is there a Bookworm in this pack? What? I'm going to take Bookworm because I mean, there's Dust Speaker again, and I'm fine with it. But this card's very good. This card's very good. I'm going to take Bookworm. Wow. Yeah, kind of speechless there. There's the Arcane Subtraction we talked about likely getting. I'm going to take it here. Not a big surprise. Quandrix Campus versus Teach by Example here. This is a bit of a debate. I think I want the Campus now because I do kind of strongly want to play this Bookworm. Biblioplex looking like it may not make the deck now with that Bookworm. We shall see. I'm not by any means going to force the Bookworm. Here I'll take Letter of Acceptance for the same reason. And the reason I'm doing this, and these are things to evaluate when you're drafting, is I'm not giving anything up for this, right? Like, I'm losing Make Your Mark, and that's not a playable in here. I'm going to play very few creatures. So I don't think that I want that at all. Nothing here for us whatsoever. I'll take a Defend the Campus just because I think if I were to go into a white splash, maybe I open a white bomb. Like Lorehold the Dragon. I would definitely consider playing it and Defend the Campus, then may go into the deck. Crushing Disappointment, that is this pack. I'll take this Mentor, I suppose. Sloth's really let me down. I was hoping for good Sloth times when the set came out. Hasn't really done it for me, though. Okay. Instant Sorcerer count is decent coming out of pack 1. Hoping for something a little bit better. Boy, Detention Vortex is awful. It read bad to me the first time we played it on the stream. Every Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern, there's your little plug. Twitch.tv/Superliminal Films. Wasn't digging it. It's just awful. It's awful. Be honest. It's awful. Yeah, so I mean, so far we're in between. Look like we could be Teamer here. That's kind of where we're at right now. Blue is definitely light. Like, this looks like right now we're leaning on kind of Rutha to be our blue. So it could be that blue hasn't flowed as openly through those packs, but there's a good odds that this pack we will see a little bit more blue. Okay, so we got the blue-white Deans, which are both quite good. Elemental Masterpiece. Tempted to take that with Rutha. It's just a great way to win a game. Even late game, Rutha for 9 mana or First Day of Class for 9 mana, both very good with that particular card. Plarg is good. It does some work in this deck, but not a ton of it, so I don't necessarily think I want to go that direction. I'm not huge on Snow Day. I'll take one late, but I'm certainly not going to take one this early. Strategic Planning has impressed me in these particular kinds of decks, but I think I'm just going to take my Elemental Masterpiece and be pretty happy about it. Gives me some good top-end win conditions, and with these decks, they do have a tendency to take a little bit too long to find their win cons, so part of the thing you want to have is you don't want to overload. I'm not saying to draft 5 or 6 of these really high expensive cards, but cards like Elemental Masterpiece, they put the little clause on where you can discard it to create treasure, so you can actually do something with it early if you need to. So that's pretty nice there. Okay, nothing really exciting out of this pack. I see a Pest Summoning, but that's double green. That'd be extremely hard to cast. I see a Biomathematician. Unfortunately, the campus is not in what colors we're looking at. Reconstruct History is powerful. We have Letter of Acceptance we can sack to draw a card, so we have an artifact, we have an instant, we have a sorcery. It's a potential. It'd be yet another splash, so we would be like red, blue, splash, green, splash, white. And that's totally fine in this format. It's not unreasonable to do so. I'm going to take it because I don't feel like I'm giving up much to do so, like a Biomathematician that, again, we don't know how strong our green splash is going to be. And in a world where I'm speculating, I'm just going to take that. Expressive Iteration here looks like a pretty easy take over Double Major, which is a cool card, but Expressive Iteration just does so much work. This card's very, very good. It's done nothing but impress me. I know everybody, it's kind of an obvious thing to say, but I mean, like, look at the uncommons in this pack here. Still a lot. Still got the rare, so the commons definitely getting snapped up out of this pack, but we'll take an Expressive Iteration here and be pretty darn happy about it. Fractal Summoning here. I see a Wormhole Serpent. I see a Devouring Tendrils that all could get played. Tendrils not quite as good in this style of deck because we just don't have a lot of creatures. The first Fractal Summoning does have a lot of value for us. Right now we have 2 Learn cards. So, like, I'm not necessarily thrilled to play First Day of Class, but I will. I like that probably better than the Wormhole Serpent, though it would be a nice curve filler at 5, but I think the first Fractal is going to be a little bit more important than the first Worm, or possibly only Worm. I see an Introduction to Annihilation here. I see a Fuming Effigy. Kind of it. Again, a Biomathematician, but I'm not super interested in that, so I'm just going to take another lesson. Keep my learn lesson style very open here. Keep that board basically with a lot of options, right? And that's the thing is I know I'm going to play hopefully a few learn cards, and that really helps a lot. There's Professor Bear, who's pretty good in this deck because it's multiple bodies. Symmetrist is going to be a little too hard for us to cast. Frost Trickster, not so good in these style of decks. Definitely better in the Prismari, like, aggro style builds, which I don't think we are. I think I'm going to take Professor Bear and say that's going to put us into a Teamer style deck, but again, I don't care if I have to cut Professor Bear, I will. Pop Quiz is a very nice pickup for us. Quandrix Campus, also a consideration. I wouldn't say no to the Illustrious Historian as well, but Pop Quiz is just, these are the kind of cards that this deck is made with. I mean, you can see we kind of can do a lot at instant speed if we need to, and Pop Quiz, being able to hold that up on a turn, can be pretty pivotal to us. There's a Quandrix Pledge Mage in this pack. I like that better than the first Snow Day, I think. The Pledge Mage just does a lot of work. Like right now, we are at 7 instants and sorceries, which is kind of actually light for a deck like this, but we also have 3 lessons right now. So really, you kind of plus 3 on that, and you can see how the Pledge Mage can get out of hand in this deck very easily. So right now, it feels like we are definitely going to be teamer. We just got to figure out how the ratio is going to work. Biblioplex Assistant I'll take over anything else in here. This is a nice recursion effect. I'm not necessarily going to play Reconstruct History. I might. It's another artifact if we do. So that's very good as well. Looking less and less likely we're going to end up with the Biblioplex, unfortunately. But, you know, it is what it is. We've tried our best. I'll just take the rare, I suppose. No real reason for that other than it's a rare, and you know, these things cost currency to do. Though this one I did with a token, so it's not too bad. I got to really pay attention to the stats on this one. Part of the reason I recorded it is because we're coming off the draft, the big draft challenge, and we have tokens, so I want to kind of keep tabs on how my tokens were, how I ended up with the tokens. I like Tangle Trap is not bad. It's not my favorite thing in the world, and I'm not necessarily thrilled to have it, but I'm not going to play the 2 cards. I could potentially take Lorehold Campus if I was going to play Reconstruct History, but there's no guarantee of that, and I'd rather snap up a Prismari Campus if I can, or maybe another Quandrix Campus. Ideally, I'd like maybe like 2 Quandrix and a Prismari, something like that. I don't mind 2. I found the sweet spot to be right around 2 to 3 campuses in your deck. I like them. I know some people are off of them, and they're not really into the concept. They think they're slow and dirtily. I think they are. I think they're good. I think these games go long. This is personal experience I'm talking about, and I don't want to say that I know more than any of the people who generally play podcasts. They play a lot more than I do. I'm not on the level of those players. Personally, drawing from personal experience, these games go long. And this deck we're building is not fast. If we were on a more dedicated aggro-style plan, I'd say sure, absolutely. Here might be the Witherbloom Pledge Mage. It's going to be hard to get double green pips, though. So I think I'm just going to play it safe and take a second Arcane Subtraction. I don't love it. That's a lot of learn, but I think I like it better than First Day of Class in this deck, so I'm going to drop the First Day now. I'll just put an Access Tunnel on my board. So, personal experience, I think these games go long. This deck definitely is a long game deck. So, I do truly think that the campuses are quite good here. I'm going to take the Village Rakes because I think it looks cool. And finally, Ogre Battleseer, which probably won't make the deck. I see a Bury in Books, which jumps out, pretty strongly. I know there's no chance we're going to get an Expanded Anatomy. I'm not, super interested in it. I wouldn't say no to it. Maybe we pick up the Snow Day on the wheel. It's an ugly pack. Got a Dina in the pack. Cauldron's fine. Not great. I mean, we could potentially splash Restorative Bursts, but it's not really good in this style of deck anyway, and I think Bury is just awesome. Really happy to have one of these. I'd be happier with 2 to 3, but I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. I'm not greedy. Well, all Magic players kind of are greedy, right? But I'm not more greedy than anyone else. Serpentine Curve here over the campus, over Mentor's Guidance. This card is going to win us games. This card with Rutha is absurd. It just is. This is the reason you build Prismari, is this particular card. It's awesome. That's it. That's all I have to say about that particular card. Definitely let me know in the comments what you think about the campuses as well, because that's been one thing I've heard from the higher level limited players, that they are generally, what was 0 to 1 is where they tend to be on campuses, and I think that's crazy. It's very easy to play 3 colors in this. It's very easy to play 5 colors in this if you're good at it. Wow. So strange. Yeah. Not for us, unfortunately. Good old Blex. He is a legendary pest. Mage Hunter's Onslaught in this pack, very good here. Not for us, but very good. Not in love with the artist, but it's not bad in this style of deck. Certainly better than a Tome Shredder or a Reject. I'm not big on Reject at all. Really do not like that card much. I'll take the Stormkiln Artist over the Grinning Ignis. Is that right? Or do I want the Ignis? I'm going to try the Ignis out. I haven't really played much with it. I'd rather have the cheaper creature at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure. So that's the reasoning for that particular pickup. Campus Guide might be the take here for similar reasons. There is the Celebrant. It's okay. It's just not good in this deck. Like, it's not ever really going to do much, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. Maybe the deck plays out a little differently than the way it looks. I do not want a third Arcane Subtraction. I've been really unimpressed with Waterfall Aerialist. So I'll take the Guide. It just lets me get my mana fixed. It gives me Campus Guide, Letter of Acceptance, and Quandrix Campus to help fix my mana. I think we're out of Biblioplex range here. We're not a ton of instants and sorceries. We're at 10 so far, so it's not a ton. I see a Field Trip, which is pretty good, but not like the best thing ever for us. I see a Prismari Pledge Mage. Leyline Invocation's pretty good for us. I think that's probably the direction we're going to go, is another big green card that can win us a game. That gives us Elemental Masterpiece, Leyline Invocation, and Bookworm, all that can close out a game for us. And I think that's pretty good. Having just picked up the Campus Guide, I don't think I need the Prismari Pledge Mage as much. I do like the Lorehold Pledge Mage as well. The First Strike has just proven to be very good. Holy crap, there's an Environmental Sciences in here. Well, I'm going to tell you, full stop, would have never guessed in a million years this would be in the pack. I mean, we saw this getting first picked out of cards with Mythic, or out of packs with Mythics earlier. No way I would have thought I would have seen environmental sciences in this pack this late. That is just a gift. And there's another one. Okay. Wow. Yeah, wow. I mean, wow. I got nothing. I'm speechless on this one. Like, that makes me want to... I'm probably going to take this and play Cram Session, I think. I could take the Witherbloom Pledge Mage, but again, the double green pips. Yeah, I'm going to take the Sciences and just have good mana. Another Elemental Masterpiece, Explosive Welcome, Mentor's Guidance. Mentor's Guidance is pretty good. Having the Leyline Invocation, I think, is enough reason that I can take the Mentor's Guidance here. Wow. Man, some really good pickups late. I see a Snow Day here. I'll take it. The deck's almost together. Prismari Campus, that is extremely free over another Arcane Subtraction. I'm not interested. Spirit Summoning here, I'll take to round out our lesson board is quite robust. We're like an Expanded Anatomy away from... I think we're missing Expanded and Intro to Prof. And other than that, I don't even really remember seeing an Intro to Prof. At least not in an unstacked pack. Don't really need another Biblioplex system, but none of these other cards are even remotely in color, so I'll just take it, but I'll put it on the board. Again, same story here. I'll take the Pillar Drop Rescuer, I suppose. No real reason. Is Cram Session in here already? No, it's not. Effigy may make the deck. I'm not sure yet. Did I take Cram Session, or am I crazy and I just imagine having... Either way, I have a first day of class. I'm not sad to be playing that. I guess I imagined I took the Cram Session. Maybe it was in a pack where it was a strong consideration and I did not take it. Anywho, it'll probably be a 2-drop Learn card that we're going to end up with. We're one playable short of a deck. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of... there's a lot of argument for possibly Reconstruct History here. I'm not necessarily into that. I don't know how I feel about Tangle Trap here. Okay, so let's put in first day of class. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I would remotely kind of want to play. Potentially Reconstruct History. Artifact, Enchantment, Instant, Sorcery, and Planeswalker. Planeswalker, irrelevant, but Artifact, Enchantment. Enchantment, also irrelevant. Debating on the Fuming Effigy is kind of what I'm looking at that is a playable for us. It's a sizable creature. We could do something like drop Tangle Trap, put in Fuming Effigy. Let me see how many instant sorceries we have in the deck here. Yeah, it looks like 14. Yeah, 14 instant sorceries, 1 Letter of Acceptance. So we could definitely afford to cut a Tangle Trap for the Fuming Effigy just so we don't get mowed over. We don't have a ton of ways to trigger it, but its stat line is good enough at being a 4/3 that I think it's worth taking. It also cuts a green card from our deck, which makes it more splashy. And Tangle Trap, while we don't necessarily need it early, I don't think we need it all that badly. So I think I'll drop that and I'll put in Fuming. And I do believe that's the way we're going to run it. Yeah, I think it's a teamer deck, certainly. I'm debating on cutting a green source because I think that's an aggressive amount of forests. We have one Professor Bear. The Pledge Mage kind of doesn't count because it can get there off the back of blue sources. But we definitely want red sources, so I'm debating. Right now we have 7 main board red sources, not counting our letter or our campus guide or any of our lessons. I just feel like this is 5 green sources for 3 pips. Yeah, it seems like much to me. I guess we'll go Mountain because I know we're going to need it. Okay. That will be the deck for us. We'll see. First pick Rutha, if she can get there for us. We really don't have a lot to sideboard again. This format, it's funny how you don't really end up with a whole lot. We do have Reconstruct History for a super grindy matchup. The scary thing, and the thing I really didn't kind of go over much, and I should have pondered it while we were drafting, is what I do against an aggressive opponent. That is questionable as well. I think this is a keep, but it's a weird one. But I think Heated Debate into Professor is good enough. And it's certainly a line we can take. I'll start with Mountain. Okay. This means we can Pledge Mage. And opponent's probably like, oh, this is not a supported color pair. We'll pull out the Pledge Mage, see if he gets ripped apart. It is what it is. Shocked with Fancy Shock. Stonebound Mentor. That's no problem. We'll play Professor Bear here. Just want to add to the board. We can chump Stonebound Mentor with the Pest. We can take it. It's not a big deal. No blocks for me. Yeah, I'll end the turn here. I don't know what I'm going to have to do with this Elemental Masterpiece quite yet. Opponent's not presenting a ton of pressure. Do I want to... I guess I'll Heated Debate. I want to see if they have a Beaming Defiance. That's the card I kind of don't want to play into, but... kind of fine here. This allows me to keep attacking with the Professor. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly make treasure, but I just don't see it doing much for us. And again, opponent not really doing a whole heck of a lot. Pillar Drop Rescuer has been the first significant card they really played. Can't really attack here. We get to crack back with... Okay. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of a free roll. I will block, because I'd rather them invest their mana. This also means they can't double block Professor Bear. Just get something. We trade, like, a card. Like, they trade a card for a half a card. Kind of fine with that. We'll attack with Professor Bear. I mean, I'll keep the Heated Debate. I mean, again, opponent's not really doing a lot in terms of power level to force me to do anything other than continue my game plan. Like, that gets Heated Debate. So that can be debated heatedly, if need be. I have a flyer now. Neither of these things reach. Maybe I drop red source for blue source. So a little bit of value here. Kind of fine. Let's go ahead and get this out of here. Okay, blue source is quite nice. Okay. We just keep pressure. I mean, this seems to be a pretty smooth avenue for us. Opponents like this weird Lorehold mid-range deck. Return Pass Caller, quite nice for them. On board, we get the Snow Day for the win here. So I'm not super worried about it if we draw blue source. We can discard Elemental Masterpiece via red. That gives me 4, 5, 6 with a treasure, I believe. So it looks like they may shock the Biblioplex Assistant here. Again, don't care so much. They can't Pilgrim. So I'm not super worried about that. I'm going to move my mic, so just forgive me if it makes a weird noise. Yep. Fantastic. We just draw the blue source. We get the Snow Day. Okay, cool. Alright, so like Lorehold mid-range is what we're up against. I don't know as though we need to make any changes against something like that. We could bring in Ogre Battleseer as just a 3/4 that is just a sizable body. I don't see too much else being necessarily very good or bad here in the main. And that's what you want to evaluate, right? Is what's good or bad in our main board? Is there anything that like the opponent can kind of run us over with? The answer I don't think so. I don't believe so. I don't see putting in a 5-drop creature being all that important here. I'm just double checking to make sure I'm not farting around too much. Like Grinning Ignis may not be very good against them, so I probably will drop that in favor of the Battleseer. I just don't like it's good, but it's not like fantastic for us. It's kind of just a 2-drop that sits, trades with something that's probably medium out of them, so I'd rather have the bigger stat line, I think. We shall see. We're on the draw, which is also a reason why, presumably on the draw, which is another reason why we want to do that. Yeah, this hand looks acceptable. Lead on Campus. We have Guidance, Snow Day. Feels pretty good. Arcane Subtraction was a nice pickup for us. Nothing really to do here. No need to force it. Do I want to just get this off the board? Yeah, I'd say so. I just want to keep pressure off myself. Pillar Drop Warden comes down next turn. It can get back heated debate. I think there's just a lot to like about that particular position. Do I want the Pillar Drop here, or do I want the Effigy myself? Yeah, I think I can go with the Effigy here. If they have a sketchy block, we get to Arcane Subtract them. That feels like it's pretty good. Pilgrim, not spectacular here. Forest. Not enough mana to expel. Yeah, so they just take it. We'll go ahead and play Pillar Drop. Hold up one green for that Snakeskin Veil. That we definitely have. The opponent did see more forests out of us than islands last game. So who the heck knows what they think? Rise of Exodus, I'm going to guess, based on the fact they're digging around the graveyard and hovering over our creatures. Don't mind that here. Nope, just didn't expel. Thought for sure it was a Rise of Exodus. They still, I mean, that's on my brain now, and that very well may be something they have. Do I want to pillar drop back a heated debate? Probably not so much yet. I think I'm going to draw a card. I don't love this play because it's not a lot of value. But we do need cards, and scrying a land to the bottom there is like a card for us. Okay, that's not too bad. Keep the assistant back. There's no reason for me to run out 1 damage. Biblioplex assistant will be able to do some work here. Hey, Rutha. We're just going to be conservative. We're going to play our Biblioplex assistant. If they want to use a removal spell on it, that's what they're going to target. I'm not necessarily itching to throw Rutha out into potential removal spell. I'd rather keep her in my hand. Opponent's not playing black. They're not going to disrupt our hand. And they can't, again, getting stonewalled by the Pillar Drop Warden. Feels pretty nice for us. Could be another expel for the assistant, but again, like, do I care? Not really. Yeah, I'll end the turn here. Nothing my opponent's doing scares me too much, and I'm just dinging them for 2 every turn in the air. It's cool. Don't mind it. I'll go ahead and scry here. Serpentine Curve, probably worth keeping here, especially with Rutha. Here I'll probably play Rutha. We'll see what they do. End of turn's kind of the only... This current... Okay, that's the only time I care. Because otherwise, I can Rutha in response to them doing something, and I get double Arcane Subtraction, so I do just completely shut off attacks from them. And it's interesting. Last game, we saw them kind of look more mid-rangey. This game, it definitely looks more like a Lorehold aggro deck that we're playing against now. And we still just kind of shut off attacks. I'm going to try to shut down the Pledge Mage here. And the reason I'm doing this is not because I'm necessarily worried about the Pledge Mage, but I do want to get instants and sorceries into my graveyard for Serpentine Curve. 2, 3, 5. So we got 4 blue, 5, 6, 7. So we can first day into a hasty 5/5. If we want to go down that line, I think we do. We'll go ahead and attack here. See if they have the expel. A little chumpy? Nope. A little chumpy? Okay, cool. So Mysis Shield's down on Rutha, which is the only real thing I'm concerned with. But that is a pretty good move, I think, for us. Yeah, they throw turn pass caller here. See what they get back. Expel. Okay, not a big deal. If they just go for expel on the token, I'm not super concerned about that. Yeah, they have nothing they could really do elsewise. I'm going to go no attacks here. Opponent doesn't really get to use any mana. They don't get to... They didn't expel immediately on my 5/5. I don't have really any counter magic to punish them or anything like that to stop them, but I can try to set myself up in a position where the expel matters very little. It'd be interesting if they elect to attack in this board state. I'm debating on if I want a snow day or not. I think I do. Okay. Okay, back down to a 5/3 for you. I think we're going to go ahead and get Heated Debate back. Okay, I think I gotta put on full control. Ruth is tricky. There's so many clicks here that's like, what am I clicking? They don't have enough to get the Pilgrim back here, so I will target it. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Force them if they want to expel. It's got to be on this Biblioplex Assistant. Absolutely. My 5/5 holds the ground down. I now can set up Rutha into double Serpentine Curve. Not really a whole lot. Opponents on top deck mode. I mean, they can certainly top deck something very good, but I'm up 4 cards to 1. If their turn is simply to recur Pilgrim, I think we're in pretty good shape. I'll snap off a block. So this is likely a removal spell, just a shock here. Yeah, that's fine. I should have Arcane Subtractioned after. That's kind of on me. Battleseer's not bad either. So let's Rutha. And by the way, we still have Rutha. I'm going to just get down Pledge Mage. It works really well with Arcane Subtraction. I'm not in a huge rush to tear through them or anything like that. Kind of not. I mean, we could certainly have taken a more aggressive line and gotten in with the Battleseer and hit him for 3. That looks terrible here. Not big on this Lumimancer. Opponent thins their deck a little bit. Get a big Fractal, I think, is going to be the best play for us. Just clears the board. Makes blocking really, really awkward. So we have 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they can double block us. I'm trying to just clear out the way because I want a Serpentine Curve plus Rutha. Pillar Drop is fine. And our Pillar Drop plus Pilgrim is fine. Bookworm. Probably play Bookworm this turn because of Trample. Maybe not. Maybe Pillar Drop Ward incentivizes me to do this. Yeah, I think so. I should have thought the turn out a little bit more in that regard. Or am I 1 mana short of doing the Ogre Battleseer? Okay, so I just recast Rutha then. So if they use the Pillar Drop to get back Expel, yeah, that's fine. No problems with that. If they use Pillar Drop to get back Expel, and they expel the 8/8, they clear the board even more. Still have that option open to them. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. But now they have to contend with 2 8/8s, and soon a 7/7 Trample. And they're going to be down to 2 creatures. They're not going to be able to... Yep, there's the Expel. That's the line we thought they would take, which is why I wanted to go with 2 8/8s over a single 7/7. And the 4/5 doesn't amount to anything. It's an 0/1. Okay, I'm like, alright, crashing in. And then we had Leyline Invocation with Rutha activation, so we had 2 additional 10/10s. So you can kind of see why I first picked Rutha there. I hope that helps illustrate it for sure. It's just such, she's so good. Like, so good. It just does really unfair things. Hellscream. It's a name. Does that mean like the entirety of Hell Screams or like something from Hell Screams? How's that work? Draconic Intervention, first time we've seen that. Pledge Mage uncastable in this hand, and our first play of the game would be potentially a 4-drop. This looks very dicey on the draw. I like having lands. I like being able to cast my spells. I don't have to get to this immediately. I'm going to try it. I think this is a great talking point, as if I'm not blathering enough to you. Good boy. On the fence hands are really interesting pieces of discussion for Limited specifically. In Constructed, your deck's built to do a thing, so if your hand's not helping perpetuate that game plan and progress the game, then there's no point in keeping it. Limited, you're looking for what would be pretty much a keepable hand. And I think that this hand qualifies. So I'm not sad that I've kept this hand. This is an interesting one. We can Campus Guide, which kind of protects the board a little against Servant. It just kind of trades, but it also gets us a land. Guarantees us we draw. I think we're in the market for this. It is mana inefficient to do this, but I think being able to fix our mana is valuable here. So I'm not sad to do this. I'll happily trade with the servant. I'll take one from the ingredient. That's perfectly fine. I don't mind if the servant plus another card, like they trick on the servant or something. And here you see we're holding back 3 more damage. So there's value here, right? Like our life total is under a bit of an attack. And while it is a resource, we do have to defend it. Put one for double forest, so there's no weird 3-color nonsense like what we're doing. Do I want Pillar Drop here? Maybe I just Pledge Mage? I think I just Pledge Mage, because I do kind of want to pop quiz into Environmental Sciences. Professor Bear. Just hopefully no follow-up Mage Duel. This feels like a trick, but I have to block. Again, my life total's under duress. Okay, no problem. They gain some life. There's no synergy with that on the board right now, so that's fine with me. We want to pop quiz. I think we just want environmental sciences here. Guarantee we make our land drop next turn. Blue is probably what we need at this point. And this holds back everything but Professor Bear. They can Professor Bear and the unwilling ingredient. We're going to harmonize here. Very good card to have. Great draw from the opponent. So far, the opponent's been on very good draws. Blood Researcher, another card we can't really block. We'll happily chump a past. They get the Blood Researcher token, but I do believe that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to Draconic Intervention the board away, except for our Pledge Mage. Get a little 4-for-1 action. Okay. Opponent harmonized, we got to Draconic, so it's a big piece of information for the next one. They're playing this in the main? They didn't learn, right? They're playing that in the main. That's interesting. I think we'll just Leyline here. It keeps pressure up on the opponent. We do kind of miss on a point, so that is on me. Interesting. I take it that means they don't really have any learn cards in the main. That's how I'm reading it. It doesn't mean much. Okay. Here I do think I just Bookworm. I have enough pressure on the board here that just adding more is the way I want to go down. I want to go about trying to win the game. Is it another Infuse with Vitality? I may have to pivot and Arcane Subtraction. Oh, Village Rites is fine. Yeah, that's no problem. Oh, tons of value. Tons of card advantage in there. Witherbloom deck. Okay, Assistant not bad either. Let's just get back potentially Leyline Intervention. Should be pretty nice. Leech Fanatic doesn't mean much. Okay, that really doesn't do a lot. Opponent trying to race us. Certainly something they're allowed to do. Yeah, let's go ahead and combat. That one has Trample. Much better. Now the question becomes, since this is best of 3, how much information do we want to give the opponent? So they're going to go up to 5, but our board's more than enough to deal with everything that's going on. So I think we'll just go ahead and... I don't really want to do that either. We'll play Pillar Drop. Actually, let's go ahead and Biblioplex. That puts Leyline on top. Okay. It's just, yeah, if I'm sitting there farting around that long between options, yikes. So opponent is Witherbloom. I think we're fairly well set up to deal with Witherbloom. I don't think there's much... Tangle Trap might be good. We saw, Spectre? I don't know if they're going to have enough flying that really matters. I don't think the Ogre's as good as it was in the previous match because the stat lines we saw out of the opponent weren't great. They looked to be Witherbloom, but on the... I mean, again, they have a whole deck. We hadn't seen a lot of it. So it could be that Ogre Battleseer is maybe a little bit better than the Grinning Ignis again. But I think just being able to kind of go over the top of the opponent is how we won. And I don't think Battleseer necessarily does that. It's just kind of a mid-rangey guy. So I don't think it is that good here. I didn't see any artifacts for Tangle Trap, no Poet's Quill or anything. Again, doesn't mean it's not there, but it doesn't mean that I want to spec on sideboarding it in. So I think we'll just keep it the same for game 2. We look to be in pretty good position against this particular opponent. They're going to play. Our hand looks sweet. And they put one back. So they're on the mull to 6. They lead off again with Unwilling Ingredient. No problem with that. We're going to lead on Prismari Campus. Probably end up just Ignising on 2, or on 3, excuse me, is likely the play here. Their land's a little much, but I'll take it. Okay, nothing on 3. It means we could let her. Kind of like that. Just good mana. The 1 damage each turn isn't hurting me. Opponent did nothing on their 3rd turn. I'll just go ahead and get rid of this while we can. Just again trying to protect my life total, because it is something that is hard for these style of big decks to do, is fully protect their life total. They're going full pest mode on us. Makes sense. Can we Professor Bear plus? No, we're like 1 mana behind doing what we really want to do. We're still going to Professor Bear. That disincentivizes an attack from the Leech Fanatic pretty well. Likely a removal spell here. Just haven't really seen any action out of the opponent. We haven't had anything they need to remove yet. So it really wouldn't surprise me if Professor Bear bid it. Stuff Lunge. Elflunge Orino. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, first day of class. What does that do for us? Are we up to 5/5 haste? Guess that's the direction we're going to go. Professor Bear? Professor? It's like doctor, professor. I like Snow Day here. Kind of keep things tapped down, just past the turn. Yep. Pass to attackers. Like, the only thing that can really attack me is Ingredient. So I'm willing to let this happen to see if the opponent's holding a trick. No blocks. I'll take the hit from the pest. It's a nice hit. Can't really risk them giving it Death Touch or something weird like that. They do have infused mana up. I know they played one last game. Just going to discard Grinning Ignis. It just doesn't do anything at this point in the game. We'll see what they have. Okay, damage it is. Okay. A million Pesterinos. That's fine. Fine. I think we just want a Bookworm here. I'm debating on the attack. Here's the debate. The attack is I go into with all of them. They block with 3 pests. They trigger Blood Researcher a bunch of times. So that's a problem. So I don't think I can attack with all 3, but I can attack with 1. I do think it's worth pressuring. If they want to throw all 3 pests in front to make a giant Blood Researcher, they can. If they just want to chump block, it gets creatures off the board. I have to assume there's something in here besides Blood Researcher that synergizes with the opponent's deck. So I'm just going to continue to put big creatures on the board. I want to try to keep... What I want to try to manage is I don't want the opponent to swarm me and attack and have some kind of pump spell or tricks and things like that. That's what I'm trying to prevent. I don't know what this is they keep doing, but I'm just going to... Oh, they probably want to draw a card. Okay, no blocks. Like, what trick could they have for that? Oh, they want cards. I see. Yep, sounds good. Yep. Wonder why the last one's like, resolve that one? I said resolve all of them. But what about this one? Okay. So now we have Rutha into Serpentine Curve. Opponent drew their Harmonize. They're a little pinched on mana, but that was still a good draw. Okay. Another Blood Researcher. Kind of happy to see him tapped low here. I'm going to draw a card. I don't need big mana right now. Bury into Books. That's a good one. We'll see how Bookworm gets blocked specifically. That may incentivize me to bury in Books on. Whoa. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Doesn't make good TV, but I don't want the dog to come in and make a ruckus, which is what that text message hopefully prevents. But my apologies. Not a thing I like to do. So, we have a good board. They have apparently infinite Blood Researchers. So unless they're confident they can kill me on this turn. What does it do? Okay, sure. I think it was just a trigger to make bigger blockers. But we get to Rutha plus Barium Books, 2 of these Blood Researchers, or Blood Researcher plus Professor Bear, and I'm pretty sure they scoop. 1 green mana open can... The only thing that really bluffs or, kind of would be is a Snakeskin Veil. The only thing that kind of indicates is the word. Jeez, my brain is farts. Okay, onward and upward. You can kind of see how, I'm glad, if nothing else, I got to show everybody how messed up of a Magic card Rutha is in this video. Because, man, she's... and you may be already like, no shit, man. But I know there's a lot of people who are like... I saw, I think it was Newmont drafting, and he took Rutha over Lightning Bolt and got a lot of guff on stream and ended up just kind of devastating his opponents every time he cast Rutha. And it just is so ridiculous of a Magic card. His hand's fine. It's not amazing, but it lets us do our thing. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Opponent looks like they're some form of aggro. Looks like possible Lorehold aggro. Oh yes. Okay, Draconic was a hell of a draw. I need to get, in that case, I think I need to get maybe Spirit Summoning. So I have a 3 mana lesson. Let's see. Okay, they don't do anything. Maybe I just Sciences then. Get good mana. Basically, I'm just playing 1 in a red Learn here. Yeah, I'll just take Sciences and make good mana. Okay. We need Island. We have 1 island in hand, but the deck kind of... No, we need a mountain for... Everybody screaming at their monitor. No, you need a mountain. Do need second mountain. That is true. It's not the best play in the world, but they missed their second land drop. So the card I'm most worried about is Blade Artist. Blade Artist, I think it's Blade Artist, Blade Artisan. That's in the main too. What's up? Lesson City on the main. I think we're just going to Draconic here and just clear the board. Let's just Professor Bear next turn. Do some damage control. Okay, fantastic. So now we can hold up Arcane Subtraction, have a Quandrix Pledge Mage. If they want to kill it, I have no qualms with it. That's totally cool. If it's Shock specifically, I would consider Arcane Subtractioning our own creature in order to save it. Okay, cool. If they want to expel it, I'm cool with that. I can play Professor Bear here. Just, again, good pressure. Opponent's still stuck on 3 mana. 6 mana pressure's pretty good. Study Break? I'm trying to figure out what the opponent's up to here. Alright, if opponent's holding up shock specifically, we're going to find out right now, because I'm going to cast this magic card, and it's going to trigger the Quandrix Pledge Mage. It ain't shock. What is that doing in this deck? Did not expect to see an Ageless Guardian. Maybe they just need it for curve consideration purposes? I've never seen this card cast. Okay, alright, got down the first one. They stumbled a bit on their mana, so we really don't know much about their deck other than they appear to be Lorehold aggro. Yeah, I don't think there's much we alter for Lorehold aggro. That was, and we talked about this, or I mentioned it after the drafting portion. One thing I didn't keep in mind, even though I talked about how interesting the sideboards become in this format, I didn't think about about that matchup specifically. What do I do against this deck, this particular one we're facing? And I really don't have much to do against them. So I think we're just, like, we're not necessarily tangle trapping because we didn't see any flyers there. Not to say that they probably don't have a few, but I don't know if that's good enough to bring in. We'll see. I mean, it might be better than something like a Mentor's Guidance in this particular matchup, which is a little dirty. But that's possible too. So we're going to mulligan this hand. This hand's good. What do we put back? Probably just Fuming Effigy. It's expensive and it's not nearly as good as Curve is. But being able to Expressive Iteration on the start of our third turn is quite good. Or if we draw a land, we can Acceptance. So that's quite good. All valid choices here. Hi, doggy. So opponent, Stonerise Spirit, not too big of a deal for us. Ooh, Prismari Campus. Play that here, and then we just debate on if we want an Iteration or Letter of Acceptance. Pilgrim. Opponent on just plains so far, no mountains. Hit us for 1 is fine. We're at a full grip. Let's get down our Letter here. Just have good mana. The Iteration does pair a little bit better with the Serpentine Curve, but being able to guarantee a Pillar Drop Warden against this particular opponent feels very comforting to me. And they're still mono white currently, so that's good for us. We're going to go ahead and ward. Next turn we'll consider the Iteration, and that lets us leave up Subtraction. My hope here is that the Warden is just good enough to block, and that's cool. That's all I care about. The tricks out of white here don't really pump it high enough to get past Warden. The only real removal out of white is the best removal spell is Expel, at least the common removal spell. The one that I would be most likely to put them on is it's the most common of them. Ooh. Ooh. If you're still watching, thanks a bunch. That was a dog's breakfast of a sentence. Another Spirit's fine. They just passed Fan. See that. Okay, let's Iteration. Not going to play our land before we iterate because obviously if we get a land here, we want to play it. And that lets us hold up Arcane Subtraction thus far. Ooh. Okay, put 1 into our hand. Want to make sure you read what's going on. 1 of them into the library. That can be Forest because we do have Quandrix Campus on tap. Exile 1 of them. We will put the mountain in. We can Serpentine Curve here. It's a little weak. I'm not really into it. I'm just going to kind of hold my Warden up and we'll block and stuff. So that's what I'm interested in here. 1, 2. Okay. Just immediately pass turn to us. That's good news. pretty easy elemental masterpiece for us. Just 2 4/4s. It puts instants and sorceries into the graveyard for Serpentine Curve. It lets us buy more time to play lands to get bigger fractals off Leyline Invocation. It's just good stuff all around. We can consider getting it back with Pillar Drop down the line. Right now I kind of like Pillar Drop holding off 2 flyers. Opponent does kind of have to do something now. This definitely incentivizes them to do so. If they're sitting on double Expel or something, I'm fine with that. They're giving up 2 cards for 1. That's just good for me. We'll see what their tricks are. I have no problem serving him with these. If it's like block plus pump spell or something weird, we have Arcane Subtraction to help blow them out. Yeah, sure. Next to damage is cool with me. Looks like it'll be removal spell, like damage-based removal spell, most likely. I'm going to Leyline Invocation to make an even bigger creature they have to worry about. That's just nothing. Just we eat through 2 of their resources. What is opponent on? Very, very intrigued as to what the opponent's up to. They've done virtually nothing. Okay, that makes some sense here. The question is, do I want to go first day into... So I can first day into just curve. That seems good enough to me. I can do it into elemental summoning, actually. That's just better. I don't know why I didn't consider that, considering it's the trick I've been using every time. So they have Expel here, that's fine. No problem. I was wondering why they were sandbagging so much. They can't even cast it here. No removal spell does it for 1 and a white. They're considering something. Nothing does it if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to Mentor's Guidance. It just, again, makes my Serpentine Curve that much better. I know it's only a Scry 1, Draw 1, but it is what it is. Well, Rutha I'll keep. Now I just kind of want a Rutha. This is going to be painful for the opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I don't have... If I draw untapped mana of any kind, I can Arcane, Rutha, Serpentine Curve for 2 8/8s. I don't think that's necessarily a requirement here. I think Rutha for 7/7s is fine. Opponent representing Expel now. I'm just going to go ahead and attack. I'm not in a hurry to do the Serpentine Curving thing. I'm not super worried about if opponent's going to trade a bunch of resources away. Premium removal spells, I'll take them. I'm not going to Rutha this. Yeah, sure, you got it. Let's get a big fractal. Means they can't quad block. That's messed up. Sure. That's funny. Yeah, you got it, opponent. I think we'll Campus Guide. I will get a land here. Uh-huh. I can make 2 4/4s, which is probably good enough on this board. This should copy with the cost paid. Yeah. Just wanted to be 100% on that. And there's no safe block for them. So it's 3, 4, 5. One more mana, which we have. Not on top now? Yeah, correct. Yeah, so if they're just going to like get back Pilgrim, play Pilgrim, which they can't even afford to do currently. They only have 8 mana. It requires 9 to do that. We're in a pretty good spot here with multiple 4/4s and a 5/5. Yeah, they can't even cast it here unless they play a land. Oofa doofa. Sorry, opponent. That sucks. Not much you're doing here. This turn's going to hurt. I don't care if I draw land. I don't care if I draw spells. Like, double block a 5/5? I mean, like, Campus Guy gets in here. Oh, well, we could also do that. Okay, that does it. Nice. Fantastic. Well, that was a fairly convincing one. Nice to see that, and nice to not have to say to everybody, "Oh, I've been working really hard to get good at this draft format because I think it's really tough and interesting," and then immediately get pooped on. So that's nice. But yeah, we'll look at the deck real quick. It's been a long video. If you're hanging out with me this long, my goodness, give me the word. Give me the word. How about? What's a good word here? What's a word up here? How about lagoon? It's on my wall. So if you type lagoon in the comments, and you're a Twitch supporter, let me know, because I can get you a free booster pack. You earned it for watching this deep into the video, my god. But here's the deck. We 3-0-6-0'd I think so. We may have dropped one in there, but I think it was just a clean 3-0-6-0. Deck felt really good. Lot of learn lesson. We had, what, 4 lessons? 4 lessons, right? Decent amount of lessons. All of them were cheap. Good interaction. The deck did a lot to stave off early aggression, better than I thought it might. We filled in the curve quite nicely. We got to cast all of our spells. We didn't really have any clunky issues, minus like the very first game. I enjoyed it. It worked pretty well. Didn't really get to see what Grinning Ignis could do. Most of the time, he just kind of was filler. But overall, the deck looked really good. I'm glad we got to kind of showcase how good Rutha was. Bookworm felt great. We had a good amount of top end, just enough, I think, without being too much. Overall, if I could change like Ignis into Barium books, that's one of the few changes I'd make. The deck feels pretty good. Obviously, I'd upgrade first day of class. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. What if I could do it. But deck was pretty good. And as always, we are here every Thursday with a new video for you on our YouTube channel. If you hit the subscribe button, just appreciate it immensely. And we are also over on Twitch. I keep alluding to it. We have free booster packs to give away. They're Strixhaven boosters. Come on over. We're there every Sunday night, just about, maybe minus a holiday here or there, and the second Saturday of every month, and we will absolutely hook you up. We're playing Arena every Sunday, and the second Saturday stream is something different, board game, fun game, party game, something like that, to hang out and play with chat and everything. So hang out with us. We have a Discord. There's all kinds of stuff. You can find us everywhere. Just type in Superliminal Film, Superliminal Entertainment. You will find us. Superliminal Games. It's all one big salad of us. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and cast more spells. Strixhaven spells, right?